What's up, everybody? Today we're taking a look at the Rampant, a new flashlight here from Exceed Designs. And if you are new to Exceed Designs, they make a few pretty interesting products, including one of my favorite EDC knives here, which is the Tyrant Razor. This is the V1 that I've had for a number of years. Love this knife. It is with me almost every day. This is the newest version of the V3, and I will link to this guy here if you want to check one of these out. Just a few upgrades to this one. Also excellent EDC knife. But Exceed Designs makes a few interesting products, including those Tyrant razors, but also the Avere, which is my 2024 knife of the year. Excellent knife, and show it off right here. Incredible action, beautiful knife. This particular one is on skiff bearings for a small upgrade. There it is. So today we have a Rampant flashlight with a ramping UI. And if you know of any other lights with a similar user interface, please comment down below, because I'm not aware of any at this time. I'm not sure if this is a first. But it's going to be pretty interesting, so let's check this thing out. Here's a look at the packaging. Now I will leave chapters down below if you want to skip through some of these parts here, but I would recommend sticking around for the whole show. This is going to be a pretty extensive dive into this light here. The features, specifications, some close-up looks at the light. This one is a Nichia 519A titanium body with the TIR Optic and stone-washed finish. Now this light comes in a number of variations. I'll put links to this light in the description, but there's a number of different variations, including aluminum, titanium, and a couple of finishes with various color options. So let's look inside the box here and see what we have. All right, we have a sticker. Ooh. We've got a certificate of authenticity. And here is the light itself. Look at that. It's got a nice tumbled stonewash finish, which should be very nice for everyday carry and hiding wear and scratches and scuffs, things like that. You've got 2 extra T8 Torx screws here for the clip. You have what is that? All right, we're digging in. Let's take the, ooh, that's got some girth to it, some heft, feeling of quality. But let me figure out what is in this box. Is that a spare? Oh, it's a gasket. So we got O-rings there, a couple spare O-rings. Set this box, we got a magnetic enclosure. Set this off to the side. Now Josh was kind enough to send this light over here for video review here, and I will be going over the details. I also have a couple of accessories to show off that you can get at the time of purchase or afterwards, including a couple battery options and a charger. And this special tool here, which is called the Rampant Key. And I will be showing this off here and a demonstration of how to swap out the optic for the reflector, or the sapphire lens option if you so choose, which is a $35 upgrade. Now for the light here, take a look at this thing. Now the color temperature on this one is 5,000 Kelvin, which is right in the sweet spot for me. I like anything between 4,000 and 5,000 is my go-to. And my own personal preference is 4500, which is my all-time favorite, but 5000 will do the job without being too bluish or cool. Here's a nice look at the light here. It's got an interesting, it looks like a, assuming that's a titanium button on the back. Let's unscrew the head here. And we've got a little plastic protective piece. We got to take that off to make contact with the battery. So if you get your brand new light and it doesn't work, look there first. Here's a look inside. The electronics. Now the light comes with an included battery. This is a 920 milliamp hour 14500 cell, but it has a USB-C port for charging, which is pretty neat. Now these don't have the capacity that you get out of one of these guys. These are the optional Vapcell 14500s available on the website. These are $11 each, or 2 for $18. So these have more capacity because they don't have to make room for the charging circuitry and the connector port. So for 1250 milliamp hours on the Vapcell here, and it's got a 3 amp discharge rate. These are the best 14500s on the market, in my opinion. So this is what comes with the light here. 5 volt, 1 amp, USB Type-C. Nice gold plating there on the positive end. Here's a look down inside the light, if you can see that. All right, let's load this battery in here. Get this light put back together. Here's a close-up look at the threads here. Screw this back together. Has a nice click to the little switch here. Have a listen. Alrighty, and here's a look at the clip. We do have a little gap here. So from the video I watched, brief video from Josh showing off the light when it was first announced or first released, you can undo these screws slightly, rotate this ring, and realign the clip in whichever direction you want. And if you want more tension on the clip, you can bend it down slightly to alleviate that gap there. They have it set up here where it aligns with the rocker, which is fine with me. I'm going to leave it like that. So let's fire this light up here and see what happens. There it is. Looks like a nice neutral 5000K tint. Let's compare it to a 4500K Nichia 519A. You can see that it's a little bit warmer on the 4500K, as one would expect. So the way this light operates is I do believe it ships in what they call EDC mode. So you're going to turn the light on, and you're going to use this switch here to ramp up in brightness or down in brightness. And here's a look at the moonlight mode, which is quite dim. If I was going to guess, I would say that's somewhere in the 3 to 5 lumens of brightness. Maybe 1, but it seems a little bright to me for 1. I guess I don't know the specs on that. I apologize for that. You're going to double click the forward ramp for high. Double click the low one to immediately jump back down to moonlight. And let's say you ramp it up to not too high, but somewhere in the middle. And you're going to shut the light off now. And when you turn this light back on, it should be right there, memory mode in the middle. And then we're going to go back up to high, ramp it up here. And that is a look at your EDC mode on the light. And we're going to leave it on high here for a moment. Check out the thermal properties. So this light is available, ships with a standard short clip here, you can see. There's also a longer clip variant, and that is $15 to get the longer titanium clip. And the clips are also available, as you can see here, in a variety of different anodization colors. So that's kind of cool. You could customize this light a little bit more to your liking. As far as heat goes, I'm on high here. It's getting warm-ish, but not too hot at the moment. We're not too far along down the old runtime highway. Not so bad at the moment. Now this light does have a copper pill, which is used to reduce heat, since titanium is not the best material necessarily for building flashlights, but it sure is great. I do love me some titanium. A little bit of grittiness on the switch here. It's not terrible. I just felt that. If you get it a little bit off kilter, off center, when you're not pushing straight down, it tends to kind of get a little chunky there, but that has pretty much happened on every light that I've had with a metal switch on it. This one's not too bad, but it's a shorter throw. Now this could potentially break in over time. Not a huge deal, as it if you just push straight in on the switch, it's nice and smooth. One thing to note, this is a forward clicky, which is my favorite kind. I just like to do a little momentary burst of light, not click it all the way, and that's great. Props for that. Now to get this light here to tactical mode, what you do is you do 10 half presses. I think I missed some. Let me try that again. There we go. You have to do 10 half presses and then click it in on the 11th. So now we're in tactical mode. Tactical mode will come on high every single time. No mode memory other than grab the light, click it on, you are in high every single time. Do a momentary press here, we're on high. Actually, it appears to be. That's interesting. So, okay, we're going to leave this down here for 10 seconds. And apparently the way it works is when it sits for 10 seconds with no activation, it will then come on in high mode. However, there's I forget what it was called, manageable mode or something like that, or maintain. Anyway, it's slightly less bright than full blast. Basically, it's made to be bright enough and not burn the battery up or get too hot. So we're going to test this out. This should come on in high right now. And that is not. That is not. So let's see. Or perhaps that's the way it's supposed to work, because maybe that is high, but not turbo. So there's not high, maybe high. Right there. You can see the difference. That's brighter. That's not as bright. That's brighter. That's not as bright. All right, so here we are, what is potentially high. We're going to hold down this forward rocker and it doesn't go anywhere, so we're maxed out. Now if I hold this down and go lower, it does not ramp. But the way you can get to low is you double click the lower rearward most ramping area, which would be the side of the ramp that goes low. So here we go. Double click. Now we are in moonlight. And the same thing to get back to high is you double click the front. There it is. But I'm still a little confused on the way this is supposed to work here. And my apologies for not... Oh, we got some blinking. We got some blinking. Battery could be low. I don't know if they ship with a very much of a charged battery, so that's assuming some kind of low voltage indicator that just happened there. So let's go ahead and shut that off. We're going to half press. So it doesn't go to full blast. I've established that here. When you press this button in tactical mode, apparently it goes to a high, but not a turbo. And I'm not sure if that's good or not. Everybody has their own use case. Personally, for me, I would like to see it go to turbo every time I grab this light when it's in tactical mode and I hit this button, which I'm going to keep talking for a moment here and let it sit for a solid 10 seconds. When I grab the light in tactical mode and I just mash this button down, I would prefer it if it just went straight into turbo, the brightest it can possibly go. And I'm not sure if it's supposed to do that, but this particular one does not seem to be doing that. So let's see. 10 seconds have gone by. We're going to put down this crisp, freshly printed $1 million bill. Here we go. Mash the button down. And that is turbo right there, definitely. So now we're going to go from turbo to high. There's high. So that time it worked. So we got high, still. Turbo right there. Now we're back to high. We're going to let this sit on high for a moment here while we talk about the weather, the state of affairs. It's a new year. Happy New Year, everybody. 2025. And now we're going to let the light sit. The light is off. Let's do some size comparisons here real quick. So here's the light on a $1 million bill. Next to a couple lights that I have that are sort of close in size. I don't have very many AA lights at the moment. Got a couple here. We got the Skill Hunt E2A, which is my favorite budget light for less than $20. We've got slightly more premium Manker E05-2. These are about $50. You can see the size difference there. And then you've got your Rampant. These are coming in at $155, free shipping. Now the size is obviously bigger. However, I kind of like the feel in the hand. It's a nice size you can grab onto. It's not too small. But if you're wanting something compact, it's obviously on the larger size for a AA sized or 14500 light. So let's put this guy down here. We're still waiting. I'm still trying to let everything reset on that flashlight before I pick it up and see what mode it is in after it's sat here. One final test of the mode memory feature that remains a mystery at this time. So here's a Sharpie marker. It's kind of my standard comparison I'm trying to get figured out here for everybody. Here's a Pilot G2 pen sitting on that $1 million bill there. Should give you a pretty good idea of what size this light is. And there you have it. There's my official EDC Hero size comparison. Okay, so the light has sat now for quite some time. I'm going to pick this light up. I'm going to mash on the button. And we are in high, not turbo. Here's turbo. So that's interesting. Let's see here. So we're going to stay in turbo. And we're going to keep it on turbo for a little while. Let the memory set in here. I'm not sure what that 3 blinks means. Have to look that up. My apologies again for not being more well informed. Okay, so turbo is off. We're going to let the light sit again for just a little while. And we are going to mash the button down and see one final time does this light come on in turbo. Here we go. And again, I don't know the details specifically if I'm doing this right. If my expectations are way off here. But from what I understood, it was going to come on every time I hit this button in tactical mode. So here we go. I think that's turbo. And here goes regular high right there. So that time it did stay. So apparently there is some kind of mode memory here. If you stay on high, it at least will come back on in high. But if you're on turbo and you're using turbo for a few moments here, again, I got to figure out what that triple blink is. I'm hoping it's a low voltage warning. When you let the light sit after using it in turbo for what appeared to be about 3 seconds, and you mash the button, it will in fact again come on in turbo. So there's that. Personally, I would like to see it just come on in turbo every time in tactical mode. And it doesn't seem to do that unless you were in turbo and you stopped using the light even after letting it sit for 10 seconds. So this optic is the TIR Optic. Apparently is the smoothest and floodiest beam. But for $15, if a person wants to upgrade here, for maximum throw, you can get a standard reflector, which is not orange peel. That is appears to be a smoothish finish there, and a mineral glass lens. So this package here is $15 if you want to swap it out. And if you want a sapphire lens for an additional $35, you could get the most premium scratch-resistant material in a sapphire lens, which is also AR coated, by the way. I don't believe that this mineral glass lens is AR coated. I could be wrong, but I just don't see the coating when I tried to look at the lens here. And I did not see it mentioned on the website. But I will show you a screen here of the lenses if you want to see what they offer there at exceeddesigns.com. And again, I will link the light and some of the accessories down in the description if you want to check it out. So to change your lens and reflector, you are going to need this little special tool called the Rampant key. And it has what appears to me a couple of watch pin removal tools inserted into a Delrin machined little piece here with a metal T-handle. And the way that works is you just basically lock it into these two holes on the front of the light. So let's go ahead and do that real quick here, and I'll show you how easy it is to swap out your stock optic for a reflector. And this is not a very scientific test here, but I'm going to do a before and after shot of the optic versus the reflector. So here's a shot of the optic and I'm going to try to hold the light in pretty much the same spot, and I will be doing a before and after comparison shot of the reflector versus the optic. So here we go. You're going to take your key, you're going to take your light, you're going to insert these pins into those holes. There you go. And we're just going to unscrew this little bezel piece here. So here we go. There's your bezel and your gasket. And on the optic, there is apparently no front glass. It's just the optic. So there's the optic is out. Here's a look inside. So I suppose you could maybe make a mule by just putting the glass lens in here with no optic, no reflector, which I'm not sure what that's going to look like. Let's check it out real quick here. Pure flood on that. Okay, let's put this little reflector in there. Here we go. There it is. Looks nice and centered. It's always good. You guys see how I cut away from myself there? That's right. Safety first, folks. All right. I'm off camera here wrestling with the plastic on this lens. It's very well secured for shipping to minimize damage. I appreciate that. Okay, we're getting closer. We are getting there. Okay. So here's a look at the lens. All nice and fingerprinted up. Thank me for that one. All right. One of my favorite tools here, a little air puffer. I want to get the dust particles out of there. There we go. Got the glass lens in there. Nice and clear. I don't see any major dust particles that have got down inside the reflector, which is nice. Those are always irritating to me. And we got our key here. Let's go ahead and see if this thing kind of stays in place. It does. So the key holds the bezel in place there, which is nice. It's going to make it a lot easier to put back in. So should have probably put the glass into the bezel first. I'm going to spin it first a little bit counterclockwise until I feel the threads kind of drop into place. Then I'm going to go ahead and screw this down just to avoid any possible cross-threading mishaps. And I'm going to just turn that and snug it down. There we go. We're going to pull our little key back off there. There's a look at the centering and the LED inside the reflector. And here's the beam shot. I'm going to roughly hold this light in the same place. And it's definitely slightly more spotty than it was previously. Not a drastic difference. Now, if you're somebody who appreciates maximum throw and you want more of a spot, you can get a luminous SFT40 LED option if you want maximum throw. So there's the beam shot there with the reflector. Now for me, I like a little bit more flood, so I would personally just use the optic in the light, and I will be swapping that back later. I just wanted to show that off for you guys, how that worked. So let's do some measurements real quick on this light here. I'll do some weights and dimensions. So here we go. All right, we are going to weigh the light here. But before I do, I was going to install this optic back in there, and I can see that it's got a frosted center portion, which I think would diffuse the light and make the beam a little more floody than the reflector. So there's a look at your optic here. Just going to pop this back in real quick here. Okay, got the optic back in. Turn on the American Way, AWS-Postal. The light with the included USB-C battery weighs 3.3 ounces. The light is right at about 110 millimeters, 4 3/8 inches long. About 3/4 of an inch diameter, aka 20 millimeters. So there's a look at your dimensions. We're going to plug this in. We're going to take a little battery bank, plug this guy in here, and we've got, you can't see it on camera here, a little indicator light, which I appreciate that. Presumably will turn green when it's done. So there's a look at your charging interface here on the included battery. Now if you don't have one of these batteries, or you don't want to deal with plugging this in, the best scenario, in my opinion, is to use a charger like this. So these chargers are $14.99 on the website, exceeddesigns.com. With the flashlight, if you're going to buy one of these to include in the options, you can drop down, pick different options when you're ordering a light. These are $13.99. This is a Vapcell charger. Comes with a USB-C cable. Oh shit. Here's a look at that charger. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and check this out as well. I will be charging this battery up to check its capacity and see if I can figure out what that 3 blinking thing was, assuming it's low voltage. Let's find out here. We're going to take this light real quick, and we are going to put in this accessory battery, 1250 milliamp hour Vapcell, 3 amp discharge, button top. Now I do believe this, well, will this work with a flat top cell? Let's just take a look. Trying to go over the details here for you. Let's take us a little look here. And of course, I don't have one handy right now. So there is a spring in the bottom, down inside, and a gold-plated metal nub here. However, there's a little gold-plated little piece sticking up that might interfere with the flat top battery. So I can't say for sure if a flat top 14500 will work in here. So for now, we're going to put this guy in, kick it on, go to turbo, and we will just set that down for a moment and see what happens. Okay. We're going to take our charger. We're going to plug this in. There we go. Well, that's interesting. I didn't like that. I just killed the battery. So I've got 64% on this battery bank. Let's go ahead and plug this battery right here, the one included with the light. Let's just see what happens here. Put that in the charger. We are charging at 1 amp. We are at 3.67 volts. So the battery was low. So I would assume that the blinking was in fact a low voltage warning, which I appreciate that. I like to know when the battery is crapping out on me. So there's a look at the charger. And this light definitely gets a little heat built up in it when it's on turbo or high. I guess that is turbo. So I'm going to go ahead and run this back down a little bit here. Take one more look at the light here. Go ahead and put it back to EDC mode. Here we go. I missed it. Okay. We're going to click this 10 times rapidly, and then we're going to click it on the 11th one. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Click. Yay! All right. There's a long-winded first look. Specs, features, details of the Exceed Designs Rampant flashlight here in 6AL4V titanium with a maximum brightness of 1300 lumens with a Nichia 519A in 5000K tint. Again, I'll have links to all this stuff in the description. Thank you very much, Josh, over there at Exceed Designs, for sending this over. And now, we are officially concluding the Rampant flashlight video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. It helps out the channel immensely. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.